Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, welcome everyone. I'm very happy that you're all here. I noticed there's a couple of people who can't get in and I can't seem to get to them to tell them what the link is, but sorry about that. Okay, today's presentation is the role of the foundation chair. And if anything you want to record or write down, please write down my email address or malcolm.rotary@outlook.com. I know I'll pop later on, but that's about the only thing that I think you're going to have to write down. I'm hoping to be able to put this PowerPoint presentation up on the district website when we're done. In the role of the foundation chair, I want to help you understand your role, show you what tools are available for you. More importantly, how do you access these tools? We all know that sometimes it's very difficult to maneuver around the RI website. The district website's not bad, but sometimes the RI website can be quite challenging. So I'm going to hopefully help you to be able to find your way around. Reports, I'll show you some reports and how you can use them. And then also, how do you tell people to donate, or how can you donate? Okay, the Rotary Foundation, or if we call it TRF, is a separate legal entity from Rotary International to maintain its charitable status. And we need to make sure that we keep the two of them separate, even though we are joined at the hip and we're as close as you can possibly get in most everything. We do need to make sure that we maintain a separate entity. The financial structure, Rotary Foundation is organized by organized public charity, governed by a board of trustees, and the operations of Rotary International is a member organization. We pay dues to Rotary International. We do not pay dues to Rotary Foundation. Rotary International asks us all to make sure that we make a donation to the Rotary Foundation. But I keep hearing from clubs when I visit clubs, members say, well, I pay my dues, but that doesn't mean to say that you're making a donation to the Rotary Foundation. So we need to make sure that those two are two separate items. The mission of the Rotary Foundation is to enable Rotarians to do good in the world. And you have to be a Rotary club or a district or international before you can get access to the Rotary Foundation grant funds. It's not open to anybody else in the world. It's our own Rotary Foundation. Rotary Foundation is a not-for-profit corporation supported solely by voluntary contributions. And without that support, we cannot do all the grants that we do. So it is very vital that we do donate. The Rotary International asks each member to make a donation of about $100 each year to the Rotary Foundation. That's a program called the Every Rotarian Every Year. The $100 is not a major ask. It is one, though, that we don't always get from every member from every club. But when you think about it, with 1.2 million members, that amounts to a lot of money every year. So it's very, very important that we get at least $100 from every Rotary member. Rotary Foundation is a very strong 4-star charity. It has been that way now for the past 10, 11, 12 years, probably now. And we have some pretty strict rules that we have to go by in order to keep that very high rating. We can proudly say that 92% of our funds are spent on your programs and operations. That is a number that is very high, especially in Canada, where legally an upstart organization, charity, can take 85% of their income and can be spent on either advertising or operational costs. So we give out 92% of our money. We don't take 85%. We're not small. In the past 100 years, Plus, we have spent $3.7 billion on life-changing projects. And that number was the number I received probably back about in January. So it's probably higher than even that now. Your role, your chief responsibility as chair of the Rotary Foundation Committee is to inspire your club members to give to the Rotary Foundation and to participate in its activities. I think this is the most important one. Promote foundation grants and activities and help members participate in them. I think if we can get our members involved in a Rotary grant, be a district grant or a global grant, we will have no trouble getting them to give to the Rotary Foundation. I want to add something this year that we've added last year. I'd like to have the club foundation chairs attend the grant management seminar. I don't need you to join or come into the grant management seminar, so you have to write the grant. That's not what your role is. What you do though is to join us so that you understand the value of applying for district and global grants. The dates are up there. They'll be widely publicized later on. Hopefully we'll be out of this COVID-19 ban so we can meet in live person. But I would really encourage you to attend these grant management seminars. We also would like you to conduct inspirational foundation focused club programs at least 4 times per year. Now, I know that might seem like quite a bit. Most clubs are quite happy to get one. These do not have to be a full program. They could be a 10-minute talk once a month at your club. But the more you can get our name out there, the Rotary Foundation name out there, the better. I also would like you to work with your club, your treasurer, to make sure that we're managing any Rotary grant funds that your club receives. This doesn't mean to say you have to get in there with a hammer or anything else, but please make sure that somebody is another pair of eyes watching to see what is happening. I want you to work with your district foundation committee, and that's my team. And I would say the word work with is probably not the right word. I would say I'd like to see you pounding our doors asking for help wherever you possibly need it. So make sure that you're utilizing us to the best of your ability and that we help you wherever we possibly can. Again, work with your treasurer to submit donations to the Rotary Foundation in an accurate and timely manner. So again, we don't have to stand over there with a club to make sure it's done, but let's just make sure that when someone donates that we track it and make sure that it's been recorded properly. I'm picking up a voice. Work with your club's membership committee to ensure a positive image and a experience. So utilize the actual foundation grants to your benefit. Make sure that we are showing up when we do a work project, that we have somebody there showing up to take some pictures. And also work with your service committees, the community chair or director, your international director, to determine if there's any current or future projects that can be funded by Rotary grants. Work with your public image committee, again, I just touched on that. Make sure that when you're working on these projects, be it locally or internationally, that we take pictures, we put them on our Facebook page, paper, if we still have a paper, local paper, and make sure that we're utilizing that as much as we possibly can. And one other thing that I didn't think about, but is a great point, work with our membership committee to find the alumni, our past members, and let them know that we're working on a community project and maybe an international project. They may like to go with you. You might just find that they might want to get back in and become more active again. In your role, make sure your club sets and achieves annual goals to support the club's and district's plan. Don't just let them pull your number out of the air. I'm going to show you some reports later on, and it'd be very beneficial if you would make sure that the goals you set are ones that you can achieve with a bit of a stretch, but make sure that you can get to them. And again, set the goals of the incoming president, and then make sure that those goals are entered into the Rotary Club Central. So don't just make a goal and then just sit on it. Make sure that we do something with it. Motivation, major part of your role as chair is keeping your members motivated. Remember, they are volunteers and donations are voluntary. So again, let's not beat people up. Budgeting before July 1st, which is only a month away now. Time is passing very, very quickly. Work with the outgoing foundation club chair, and that might just happen to be you. I know club chairs are there for more than 1 year. And discuss what funds your committee will need and request that they're included in the club's budget. I know with the COVID-19 and lack of being able to raise funds, your budget may be very limited, but make sure if you can, you get some money in there for grants and so on. Now, there is help. We're not leaving you out there on your own. Rotary.org has a whole bunch of things that you can look up, and I'm going to run through some of them for you. And club presentations. We have a foundation team, consists of 10 members. We're more than willing and happy to come out and do a club presentation for you. So one of those you don't have to do them all on your own. We come out and give you a hand. If you go to Rotary.org, go to My Rotary, make sure that you're signed in. Go to the Learning and your Reference Center. You will find that there's a whole bunch of courses you can take. You'll see them down below there under the foundation. So please go in there and have a look at those. Also, when you're in there, the Rotary Foundation has a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to show you more what's under that tab a little later on. We have a brochure here for you. And if it was doing this live, I will be giving you one of these brochures. It introduces the Rotary Foundation team. There are 10 of us. There's 10 of us. You find them there. You'll find myself in there with my email address, our Global Grants Chair, Val, our District Grants Chair, Steve. I've seen them both on the call tonight. Our vocational training team, Ian, he's also on the call here tonight. Our annual fund chair, Steve. Steve will be leaving us at the end of June. He's put in about 7 years with us now. It's about time for him to have a rest and to look after his own health. So if anybody's interested in that role, please let me know. Endowment Fund Chair Rick is trying to get on, but we haven't been able to get him the link. Stewardship Chair Rob Martin, I saw him on here also. Rob his role is to try to keep me out of trouble, make sure we're doing things right. Scholarship Chair Jack Ray is also on. These are scholarship. Jack knows more information than I ever thought I could ever learn about this. Polio Plus Jim is also there, and Raj is also on, and he is our international chair. So we have a list of 10 people who are more than willing to give you a hand. Okay, how do we fund programs? We talk about programs. Share system. So what happens is that donations we make are held by the Rotary Foundation for 3 years. So donations that were made in the years of 2017-18 are returned to us coming July 1. So we already know how much money that is, $365,000. In the past few years, it's been about $400,000, so we're down a little bit, and I'll explain that to you in just a little while. But we know that money is going to be coming back to us, okay? It will come to us in what we call our district designated fund, DDF, and 50% of that comes back into that fund, or $182,000. We then take that and we split it in half, and we put 50% our district grants, about $91,000, and 50% to fund global grants, again about $91,000. The other half then goes up into the World Fund. And the World Fund is just what it says. It's a World Fund that we can all tap into. It's a fund that we utilize a lot. This last year, we started the year with $363,000 in our actual BDF, and we now have about $1,000 left. So we have utilized it and have tapped into that World Fund and got more than our fair share out of it. So we do well. We do very well with the World Fund. Talk about donations. Our annual fund goal last year was $320,000. We were able to raise $342,000, or 107% of our goal, and we reached $137 per capita. We've been asked, remember we were asked to raise $100 per member per year, so we've met that goal. Our annual fund this year for 2019-20, our goal was $320,000, just a little bit more than that, $600 more than last year. As of today, I looked it up today, we're at $303,405, 95% of our goal, and $122 per capita. So we're tracking very well. Comparable to last year, at the very same time, we were at $296, 93% of our goal, and $119. So we are tracking very well, even though we've been hit with COVID-19, we are still getting donations rolling in. The Polio Plus side of it, our 2018-19 goal was about $90,000. We raised 145, almost 146,000, 160. Some of the reason why we are down a bit in our annual fund is because we have such strong donations to Polio Plus. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you can see the reason why some of the money has shifted over a little bit, but we are very proud of what we do with our Polio Plus. It's still one of the leading programs that we do, Rotary does. Polio Plus, how are we doing this year? Our goal is 106. We bumped it up quite a bit. You can see not enough. We're tracking almost exactly what we raised last year. We're at 145. Our goal at $59 per capita. Where were we last year? 125,141. So we're tracking wonderfully. We're doing a great job on both fronts. We can be very, very proud of that. District grants. I want to talk about grants. We talked a little bit about grants. District grants are used for smaller local or international projects, funding between $500 and $10,000. We'll match from the district funds $1 for every of your dollar. You do not need to have a actual host club. And some of this stuff will be a bit Greek to you, but if you come to our district grant training seminars, it'll be a lot clearer for you. That's why I would really like to make sure that you're there. District grant applications are open for applications once per year. They opened on March 1st this year, and they will close on August 31st. So please, if you have not already applied, please do so. And if I know it's a little more difficult, we're doing Zoom meetings, but please, you can talk about it. So you look at district grants, so you can get up to $10,000 if we have the funds. Club funds at $10,000, you could be putting in $20,000 into a local or international project. We have around $8,000 worth of projects. So the club's putting in 4, and DDF is putting in 4. That gives us about 20 to 23 projects every year that we're doing. We have a brochure, and this brochure is also available on the D5050 website under the Foundation tab and grants. I have a whole bunch of these in my desk, which I can't seem to be using because I can't get out. But those are there, and you'll find in there that the past 7 years, we have helped fund 143 different projects, donated or put in $652,000, and knowing that those numbers are at least matched, that's 1.3 million that we have put in the last 7 years. Global grants, they support large humanitarian and educational projects, support vocational training teams. And the difference here is you need to have two clubs. You need to have a host club in the country you're going to go help. And you need to have, and then you are the international, the international club. Now, so that's the big difference between district and global. One is its actually size. One, you need to have a host club. The other difference is that the applications are open all year round. They work on a rolling application, and it drives Val and myself a little bit nuts sometimes trying to keep up with the right numbers. How does it work? Global grant, if you put in $10,000, and that could be 4 or 5 clubs putting in to equal 10,000, we'll match it with DDF, a district fund, for $10,000. And now here comes the rural fund. I talked about the actual rural fund, and we do quite well with the rural fund. They'll put in $10,000 to match our district one. They'll also match half of your funds. You end up with a total funds available of $35,000 US. So put in 10, get back 35, pretty good bang for your buck. But wait, there's more. Your Canadian club, you put in 10, we put in 10, the Canadian government will match both of those and give us another $20,000. Then the rural fund will take the money that the government has also put in and call it our money, and the net result is $65,000. So excellent bang for your buck. This program is about to end. It's still operating now. They still have about $1 million they're going to give away, so it's still out there. Every Rotarian is encouraged to participate in the Rotary Foundation project. And this could be a polio EID or NID, and it could be, but grants is what I'm really concerned about. In very simple language, it's something needed that the host club wants. And it seems strange to call it the host club, but we're a host in their country, so that's why they're called the actual host. Something wanted, and this should be logical, but it hasn't been too many years ago that it wasn't always that those two matched. We thought they needed it. They might not have wanted it. Now Rotary, the Rotary Foundation is saying those two have to be the very same. They have to need it and they have to want it. And it has to be long lasting. When we leave, we expect this thing to last for maybe another 4 or 5 years. So long lasting, and really important to my foundation team. We want to make sure that it's something you can get your hands dirty on. Reach out and touch the people you are helping. Go down and visit them, work with them. If it's local, do the very same thing, but something you can touch. If we do all that, then asking everybody to make a personal gift becomes. Okay, how much have I donated to TRF? Or how much, somebody asked you how much. You want to go to the district Rotary.org website. I'll back up with one thing. If you notice that little blue line there, it's very, very, very small print. You want to point them to the profile. And if they click on the profile, you're going to see something like this. Hopefully you won't see my name and me up there. Otherwise we got the wrong password. In there you'll find view your public profile, and this is not anything to do with TRF, but please have a look in there and make sure that your birth year is in there correctly. Rotary's default is 99 years, so if you don't have a birth year in there, it'll show up that you're 99 years old. I've talked to quite a few clubs and explained this to them, and they come back to me a couple of weeks later and say, by the way, we've dropped our average age by about 20 years, so thank you very much. So in there, you'll find your donor history report. You'll also find an individual contribution form. So that's where you go if you want to donate. It'll be all ready with your name in it, populated. You can click on a whole bunch of options and away you go from there. What you'll see when you get into the donor history report is you'll see this report first of all. It will show you your Paul Harris recognition amount. If you notice in there that I'm sitting at Paul Harris plus 7. Recognition amount's $8,500. I have not donated $8,500. I have been awarded some Paul Harris, a couple of them from my club and one from somebody else. So it doesn't necessarily mean that because I have a Paul Harris plus 7 that I have donated $8,000. This is a little bit of a flaw that I don't like in the actual system, but it's the way it is. Down below here, and I've blanked mine out, in there you'll see what you've donated to the annual fund. You'll also see what you've donated to the fund, and you'll see the pie graph. I try to keep my donations to the Polio Plus at about 25%. If you look at this in here, I'm down to about 20%, so I'm going to have to go in now and make sure I bump that up a little bit for my Polio Plus. You'll also see a thing in there called Foundation Recognition Points, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Down below, you see you're in the overview, but you also see that there's a transaction detail. And this will then show you what you've donated, and I don't know how far it was back. It was back as far as when I first started. And you will be able to see what you have donated, when you donated, where it went, and so on and so forth. As a foundation chair, you cannot see this individual data for individual members, but you need to be able to make sure you can point the individual to this form. Talked about the foundation recognition points. These are awarded in appreciation for personal contributions. So this is actual money that you have actually donated. The points will be then donated. And transfer those points to other individuals to help them achieve their first or multiple Paul Harris Fellows. This started in 2011, so it's relatively new. And going around to the clubs, I looked at some of these areas, and some of these, we have members that are sitting there with 20,000 points. I strongly recommend that you look at these forms and look at these points and encourage them to make a donation, award a Paul Harris Fellow to their spouse, to their best teacher, their best whatever they want to do, but make sure they use them and award some Paul Harris Fellows, and then make sure that we publicize it. Make it a nice special night. I know we can't do that now with COVID-19, but make it a special night. Again, they go online at Rotary.org and to your profile, and they'll be able to at least find all that stuff. Okay. Where do you go now to find how your club is doing? Again, you go to the Rotary.org, go to My Rotary, go to the Rotary Foundation. All kinds of stuff in there for you. There's things in there about Rotary Foundation. There's also down below, learn more about the donor recognition. I'm going to touch on that briefly just in about a minute. But you'll find foundation reports, and this is where you probably want to spend most of your time. You click on that, this will pop up, and you'll see there's about 4 or 5 or 6 reports that you can get. The one you probably want to use more than anything is the club recognition one. And this report will then pop up. It will show you how many Paul Harris Fellows you have, how many benefactors, bequest society, major donors, how many Rotarian donors, and how many non-Rotarian donors. So it'll tell you who hasn't donated, all-time giving. And you can't see it because I blanked it out, but below that you'll find the name of everyone in your club, the club member number, you'll find the recognition amount, the current PHF level, when they got that PHF, their foundation recognition points, and that's where you can see how many they have, the last time they actually donated, and it's a wealth of information. And if you sit there and you find we have 2 members who have not donated, those are the 2 that you need to be pulling aside and very nicely talk to them and say, why haven't you donated? Is there an issue? What can we do to help you? You're going to have, there's a slight snag here for those of you who are new. They won't be available, these reports won't be available to you until July 1. But on that little blue line was there again, there is another one in there called delegation. You can go to the current club foundation chair, the club president, club secretary, and ask them to delegate you. And then that will allow you in there so you can have a look. If that doesn't work, get a hold of me. I'll help you out. Donor recognition, and there's a whole ton of them here. I'm going to skip through them fairly quick. All of these, you can go online, you can find them, and everything you're going to see in the next few slides, I just went in and copied, and whenever I speak at a club, I take this list with me. There's a whole bunch of them. I've been in Rotary with Rotary Foundation now for 7 or 8 years. I can't remember all of them, so take a list with you. Paul Harris Fellows, the first one was the Paul Harris recognition. Again, I'm sitting there at a Paul Harris Fellow +7. Doesn't mean to say I've donated $8,000 or $9,000. Pins, you get to see the senior pins. When you get to the donor recognition, the major donor, then this number here, $10,000, that's actual money. Anything above that starts getting into the real hard money. recognition containing member, benefactor, bequest society, Arch Clunk Society, $250,000, and we have a number of those in our district. Legacy Society, and then you get into the club in recognition. Paul Harris Fellow, Paul Harris Society Club, Foundation Giving, Rotary Promise Club, Every Rotarian Every Year Club, and then the top 3 per capita in annual fund giving. So all these are in there. And again, like I say, print this stuff off. It's very easy. It prints off on a page and take it with you to your club. Somebody asks, you can have the answer, because I know I can't come up with the answers all the time. One of the easiest ways to donate, if you have members who have not donated, is Rotary Direct. You go to rotary.org/give. If you've logged in, up will pop a form. You can choose how much you want to donate, monthly, quarterly, annually, what currency, Canadian, US, whatever you want to do. It'll be then charged to you on your credit card. It doesn't go to your bank card. It goes to your credit card, paid off once a month. And it's a very easy and simple way to get members who have not donated to get into the actual habit of doing a donation. Don't forget the Rotary Foundation brochure, again available on D5050.org under the Foundation tab under grants. There's 10 people there who are more than willing to give you a hand. Now I'm going to go to your questions. We're going to kick this out of here, I believe, Roger, and then we can go to your questions if we have some questions. So I'm just going to get out of my stop share here.
Yep.
Make sure that if you haven't written my number, my email, please do, malcolm.rotary@outlook.com. All right, thank you.
Good, we're back. Thank you, Malcolm. That was a great presentation, and there is a number of questions or observations. I think I'm going to ask, where are we here? Thomas, he has a point or a question he wants to ask. Over to you, Thomas. Hello, Thomas, you still there? You got to unmute. Well, it looks like Thomas has left us. I just scrolled down. Okay. Henny, you had a point that you wanted to raise.
Yes, I try to convince our members to donate every year, even a small amount. I held talks. I invited people to talk about the foundation and to put some enthusiasm in the members. We talk about giving every month through your credit card, and still there are long-time members, and I mean long-time members, who never ever have donated 1 penny. And I can see people have their own thing they want to donate to, but in my view it's part of being a Rotarian to give to the foundation. But how do we get those people to do that? Can we put it into our annual dues? How? Because we this weekend we have a foundation thing. It's a car rally, and the proceeds go to foundation. We got a matching grant for the food bank with a couple of other clubs a couple of weeks ago. So it must be clear to the members how beneficial the foundation is, and still they don't do it.
Yeah, one of the things that we do in our club is that we do tack it on to our annual dues. We automatically dock them or put money in under their name to make sure that we have a donation from every member of our club. I think our club's only putting in $10 per member, but at least it gets them going and gets them doing something.
Now, I proposed that to the board for the coming year, and I was just wondering if this is a common thing or not.
I'm not too sure if it's common, but I know we do it in our club.
Okay, thank you.
Ian, you had a point. Is Ian still there?
Yeah, hi there. You can hear me okay, can you?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah, well, we haven't taken the money off from all of our members on an annual basis, but since we started with this COVID, we've been virtually eating like everybody else, and so that means that everybody's expenses have gone down considerably because we're not paying for breakfast in our case, or others won't be paying for a meal. So we suggested that they consider donating part or all of their savings from that to the foundation, and we did a presentation on the foundation. And we actually showed them slide by slide how they could go into myrotary.org, how they could make their direct contribution. And for us, we seem to be reasonably successful doing that. Not everybody contributes, but we have a reasonable number of people that do contribute. So that's one possible way, at least in the short term, of getting some funds.
Great. Malcolm, I have a quick question. Do you get a tax receipt for the donations?
Well, what we do is we make the donation on their behalf directly to TRF. Your treasurer keeps track of it, and every year he puts through a donation at the end of the taxation year, and so they get a tax receipt for the $10 or whatever it was that we have put in for them.
But that varies club to club.
That varies club to club, and as I said earlier, your district dues and your RI dues do not go towards your TRF. If you're going to do this, it's going to be done on your club dues as actually part of your total club dues.
Does anyone else have some questions or observations, words of wisdom to help?
Yes, I would like to chip in here. The whole reason that I joined Rotary was I had spent many years promoting and volunteering with my professional organization across Canada. President of our club at that time happened to be in an office just down the corridor from me and said, "Would you like to join Rotary?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I've been spent a lot of time helping people better able to help themselves. I think it's time I spent more time helping people less able to help themselves." The thing that really sold me on Rotary was the foundation, that what you donate is invested, and that interest on that investment pays for the administration. So your money goes to 100% to any of the programs that we provide funds to. I've done out to various charities in my name, my wife's name, and jointly. But Rotary to me is the #1 charity. No ifs, ands, and buts. I've got to admit I'm a member of the same club as Malcolm here. But prior to Malcolm's initiation, I thought that the foundation is an absolutely fantastic way to donate money if you are that way inclined. And I think we're all, as Rotarians, able to do that. And I say that Rotary is my major donation each year. I am a major donor, but through a number of years being in the organization. But I just find it's such a fantastic organization, and the opportunity to help so many people around the world. Now, I can't believe that we don't have one member in our club that, well, I mean, many you can afford $100. I mean, you can $500, $1,000, whatever it might be. We're all fairly able to do that. And again, I say it's just a fantastic avenue to be able to donate and help other people. That's my 5 cents worth.
Thank you, Clive. Is there anyone else that wants to jump in or has a question, observation?
I do.
Go ahead,
And-
Sandy.
Hi. Just on the donations and the foundation, it's very, our club does the $100 per member. We donate for them, but it's attached to our dues. If you're going to attach it to the dues, though, I think you have to be very careful that, because you can't make it a mandatory thing. So you still have to have people to opt into that they're okay with them doing that. That's the way I understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong. So just be careful on that, Henny, because I think that's sort of what you were hoping you would be able to do. And then it's very easy to do the every Rotarian every year. If you think about it, it's only $100. And it doesn't matter after that. $100 in a year US is not even a cup of coffee a month. So if you try to tell them about that, maybe they go, oh yeah, you know, and even if they're only putting $10 a month or $10 a quarter or whatever, who can't afford that? Even if you're a retired person, you go out for coffee. So you don't go out for coffee if you're that tight for that particular month or whatever, but I just don't get why people can't find that little bit just to do it.
Yeah, you're right. So people should be able to opt out. And I tell people that it's only a cup of coffee a week or whatever, but still it's not happening. But let's try. We'll talk about it in the board. And we have a visioning session next week, so maybe we'll come up with something. I see Jim, the president elect, is here as well, so he will hear what I had to say.
Yeah, you'll have your voice. Definitely.
Yes, I will.
Malcolm?
Daryl?
That was Cleon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, Cleon. Cleon and Daryl.
Okay. Hi, I've got a different way of looking at things that may not be very popular, but right now COVID has hit some people pretty hard, and I think it's an optional thing. I think we encourage people, but I know a few people that they asked me if the memberships would be reduced because of COVID. So some people are struggling, and yet those members volunteer a lot. So I don't know that it should ever be mandatory, and it's not. And if it's not mandatory, it's optional. You encourage people, and some people will give away more than their 100, and some won't. And I think Rotary's changing, and I don't think we pressure people. I think we inspire people, but I don't think we pressure people. And I think some people may choose to do more volunteer work than put out money, and that's their option.
Great, thanks, Cleon. Now Daryl, then Enoch.
If I can just answer that, just
Oh, sure. Sorry, Malcolm.
I'm totally amazed that our numbers are still as high as they are when COVID-19 hit us. Our numbers are still showing that we're tracking very high, and we're beating last year's numbers. So even with the COVID-19, we still seem to be finding people who want to donate. And I agree with you, Cleon. It's not, and I keep on saying it's not a mandatory thing, it's a voluntary thing, and don't beat people up. But I'm amazed that we're still getting the donations to the extent that we are. So it's great. Thank you very much.
Great. Daryl, and then Enoch.
Oh, hi there. I just wanted everybody to hear me.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I just can't really hear myself. I just wanted to talk about our club's 5x5 program, and I'm just wondering whether any other clubs in the district do something similar. Our club supports 5 groups of 5 members, so it's a total of 25, but I mean, any club can do any number of members or programs if they want, but we basically, the club matches the $100 US donation of each member. So we create a group, and each of that group donates $100 US to the pool. The club matches that $500 pooled funds, and then that all gets sent in, and there is one Paul Harris recognition that comes out of that, and one of the 5 members of the group will be awarded that recognition, so that by the end of 5 years, so it's a 5-year commitment, everyone in the group will actually achieve a Paul Harris recognition. That our club has a long history of supporting the foundation pretty significantly. We've been close to the top of annual giving per capita. and you almost always meet our goals. But I think that the 555 program contributes to that quite a bit. It amounted to, as far as out of the club's pocket, $2,500 US to match the number of people that are involved in the program. And so we have 35, well, probably about 70% of our members are at $100 US plus, and any are significantly more than that. Thank you.
Great, Daryl. Comments, Malcolm?
No, that sounds like a great one, a great program. Where do you get the additional $500? Like, is that from fundraising, or how do you arrive at the $500 that you give?
The $100 per member who is involved in the program comes from fundraising. So it is charitable funds, and
Okay.
the money that is sent in by the club goes into club recognition points, which we can then use to give community Paul Harris fellowships, for instance, for worthy or deserving individuals in the community, if we want to award Paul Harris for someone who's very deserving in the community. So that gives us a pool of Paul Harris points basically to use. But what it also does is, for especially new members, and we give preference to new members to join those groups, it gives them an incentive to make a commitment for 5 years to essentially, and gets them on the way towards Paul Harris. And I think once we start them on that path, they will tend to carry on.
Great. Enid?
Hi there, it's Ineke, and I'm from the Meadow Ridge Rotary Club. Our foundation chair is here also, Laurie Anderson. What we do is we put on our invoice for annual dues that we actually do put it on the invoice, the $100 American, and people will just automatically pay it, and others won't, because it clearly says on the bottom that it's not mandatory, it's voluntary. So I think that's a good idea. We've done that for years, and many people pay it right off the bat, no problem. I think it's not always all about the money. People just forget. I think we need to remind our members. Again, Laurie Anderson is here. He just actually contacted all our members that hadn't paid yet. And the treasurer just told me there was 4 people, I believe, that immediately after that message paid. It's just not always, you forget about it. So I think we need to remind our members more regularly, especially, at the beginning of the year, maybe in January again, and maybe leading up to the end of June a couple of times. What we've done in the past also is we do usually a garage sale. And 2 years in a row, the proceeds were going to the Rotary Foundation. And what we did that time was we spread that money out to those people that had not made a donation and told them about it. So it's maybe, I don't want to say we shamed them into it, but it was kind of letting them know, hey, we want to be a club where every member makes a donation. So we made the donation in their name from the proceeds of the garage sale. So that worked as well, just a few tips. And then one other thing is the difference between the World Fund and the Polio Plus, and Malcolm, you were saying that there was more donations towards the and polio this year than there was to the World Fund. We usually give our donation to our treasurer, who then in our place makes the donation, and we receive the tax receipts in the mail. I was never asked, I don't think, if I wanted it to go to the World Fund and polio. So I think maybe that sometimes happens automatically. So I'm going to question that from our treasurer, actually. How does it end up in the World Fund, and how does it end up in the and polio now? So that would be 2 different, you have to indicate that, I guess. I've never automatically done it on the website. I've always done it to the treasurer. So I don't know if others do the same. Thank you. Great presentation, Malcolm.
Yes, you have to indicate which one you want. And sorry, I didn't mean to say that the polio fund is giving more money than the World Fund. The polio fund has been increasing. We're giving more and more money to the Polio Plus, $145,000. We still donate about $345,000 or $65,000 a year to the annual fund. So it's still up there very high, but some of the money has shifted over somewhat to the Polio Plus fund, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just that when you look at it, the total amount of money that we give out of District 5050 is still up there. It's just that it's moved around a little bit.
Great. I think we have time for one more question. I see Wayne's hand up there. Go ahead, Wayne.
Yes. About 25 years ago, we were having the same type of problem as Henny is having. And we started the groups of 5 that Daryl mentioned. But we just started with one group. 5 people agreed to put in the $100 per year for 5 years, and the club agreed to match it. And then that grew. Until now, it's virtually every member of the club that's in a group. Some are in 2 groups. And when we have a new member inducted into our club, we tell them it's not a requirement, but it's almost an expectation that they join in, that this is what our club does. And it's worked out really well. Now, people just, they're reminded each year about time now to make your contribution, because I only have one that donates by the month deduction. But it's not like pulling teeth or anything. It's understood. After the 5 years, they're just automatically signed up for another 5 years unless they opt out. And very few are opting out. So maybe, Henny, you could start with just a small group like that and then let it spread. We also do something similar to what people have mentioned, and that is with our happy and sad dollars. For the last, I don't know, perhaps 4 or 5 years, all those funds have gone to end polio, to Polio Plus. And our treasurer collects them all in and then assigns so much to each member. So if you're a regular member kicking in a toonie every week, it may not work out exactly to what you put in, but it's fair. And because some people put in 2, sometimes 1, sometimes 5. If you don't attend at all, well, then your name doesn't get written down for any money going to you or from you. But this way, virtually everyone in the club has money going in and a tax receipt coming back to them. And as soon as they see that, then that's an incentive to give more. So it's worked well for the Langley Club.
Thanks, Wayne. If there's no other pressing questions, I'm going to ask Malcolm to wrap up and say his final words. And thank you, everyone. Malcolm?
Okay. Thank you very much, Roger, for keeping us on the straight and narrow. And I appreciate everybody coming out. It's good to see us all. The only concern that I have in our district with our club foundation chairs, we have about 20 clubs who do not have a foundation chair. And I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but I'm going to be spending the next few months working to find out why we do not have, every club does not have a chair, foundation chair. It might be that some of them have a foundation chair, they do double duties. Some clubs maybe have one and don't actually list them. I know there's some presents on here. So if you have not listed your foundation chair, please do it. The Rotary Foundation sends out some updates all the time, and there's some good information that the foundation chairs you should be getting. So I thank you again very much. Keep up the good work. And please, if you need any help, like I said, I'll put this PowerPoint presentation up online. Steal whatever you want. If you want me to help you put together a PowerPoint, I'm more than willing to do that. So whenever we can do to help you, we are here to help you. Thank you very much.
And thank you. And this presentation should be up on the YouTube channel sometime in the next couple of days. So thank you all and good night.